This video is only one part of an in-depth review, so check out the rest at thegoodride.com. Thanks for watching. Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and I've been avoiding reality part-time since 2006, full-time since 2010. This is the Union Contact Pro, a binding I've owned and used many years in a row now, and tested with a wide variety of boots and boards, more than I care to mention, in all kinds of conditions. To give you a quick summary, this is a softer, more playful, more smooth response, kind of medium response alternative to the very aggressive Falcor, and a nice step up in terms of shock absorption and butterability and feel underfoot to the Flite Pro, and not really so much of a similar binding to the Atlas and the Force, but they're here and compared nevertheless. This is kind of the daily driver for mountain freestyle to park riders, and it does an amazing job for that. Great butterability, great shock absorption, and great adjustability. So let's get into the weight. These are pretty light at 1.8 pounds. The Flite Pro is 1.6. That's super light. And the Falcor is 1.8 as well. So they're very similar in terms of weight. In comparison to the Atlas, 2.2 pounds, and the Force, 2 pounds. So these are pretty light. Now let's talk Highback Flex. What I love about a lot of Union bindings is they have this great twist. So even though this has kind of a solid high back, kind of like the Scotty Stevens Pro has usually every year, it's still very flexy. It's got good twist and it's got decent give. I can get this to bend back a little bit, and I like that because it doesn't bite into your calves and doesn't cause problems. And if you rotate the high back, it has 3 spots on each side. You've got the perfect non-calf bite high back. Now, when you're talking about flex underfoot and buttering, all you have is this mini disc. That's really the only contact with the board. The rest of the binding is kind of a softer EVA foam. If you compare this to the Falcor, it's really stiff EVA foam that's almost rubbery. If you compare this to the Flite Pro, you have a full-size disc without much EVA foam here. This is hollowed out in a lot of places, but you're looking at a lot less butterability than the Contact Pro. And this is the easiest binding when it comes to flex underfoot, even compared to the Falcor. It's just a little bit better. And you compare this to full-size discs with the Atlas and that kind of harder rubber, or the softer EVA foam but a full-size disc with the Force, you've just got a better butterer. The board feels softer, it twists and flexes tip to tail better than just about any other Union binding out there. So very good, very easy flex underfoot. Kind of right there with Burton Reflex and some of the best in the industry when it comes to allowing a board to flex underfoot easy. Now, when it comes to turn initiation and response, as far as it goes in Union's line, this is not the most responsive binding. It's just kind of like middle ground. It's a very smooth response. You get more out of the Atlas and the Force, and more out of the Falcor. The Flite Pro is actually almost right there with these though, which was kind of surprising, but I like the response. It's just smooth and it powers most boards. It powers more boards than you would think, all but the most demanding when it comes to turn initiation. So very cool there. Now, when it comes to shock absorption and dampness, these little binders do a great job at giving you a lot of shock absorption. There is a soft EVA foam throughout the bottom here that's great for kind of slow speed shock absorption, but it's no slouch if you're, going bigger and you need a little more shock absorption. The Falcor is a little better there, but it's far superior to the Flite Pro's shock absorption and what they have underfoot there. I would say though, you're definitely going up a big notch with the Atlas because of that rubbery bottom. It is just more damp at higher speeds, but it doesn't have that slow speed kind of like playing around in the park, kind of freestyle shock absorption like the Contact Pros do. The Force is kind of in between the Atlas and the Contact Pros. Now, when it comes to boot support, you've got excellent toe straps. All of Union's toe straps do an amazing job for me and for my crew. We all love them. It has just really just like a nice soft sticky rubber here, but then a really hard rubber that doesn't flex much. So the combination of the two really just wraps on the tip of your boot, and I can crank this down super hard with the ratchets, pull it in. By the way, the ratchets are amazing. They just are very smooth on and off, even right out of the box. They can be maybe just a touch sticky out of the box, but after a couple days of riding, they break in no problem. And then you have this ankle strap that I like. It's like this soft, kind of almost EVA foam in the middle, and then this harder plastic. It doesn't quite have the support of the Falcor or the Atlas or the Force. Those ankle straps have a little more support, especially in uneven terrain, but this is still very good and does a good enough job in uneven terrain, but really shines for giving you a little more freedom of movement while still not shitting the bed on support. So I like that. Now, when it comes to adjustability, you have an adjustable heel loop. You don't have an adjustable gas pedal like you do with the Atlas or the Force. Those allow you to fit your boot a little bit better in the binding, but for most, you'll still be able to adjust this heel loop and center your boot in the footbed here in the binding, and therefore center your binding on the board. And then you can utilize the little slide that you have here with the mini disc, and you can get good stance width adjustability. Then on top of that, you kind of have the same old toolless adjustability in the ankle strap. I don't know why they don't do the same thing for the toe strap like they do with the Atlas, like they do with the Force. And in comparison to the Falcor, it's completely toolless this year, but it's very cool, and it's much better than the Flite Pro that requires a screwdriver for both. Forward lean, super easy. I like that. I like it way better than the Falcor, but it's the same as the Atlas and the Force. Now, overall as a binding, this Contact Pro is really recommendable for a mountain freestyle board or a park board, but it could even work if you want a buttery, mid-level turning, smooth response kind of board for riding in powder days, or just pairing it up with easier turning boards that are free ride boards, that are all mountain boards. This could work as well, but it really shines in the park riding twins and mountain freestyle twins. That's where this really excels. But overall, a very recommendable binding, excellent butterability, adjustability, great straps, great ratchets. It just ticks all the boxes, and Union's just come a long way over the years, and they are making a really good binding right now. All our reviews are a best effort, objective opinion from an average rider's perspective. There's no brand oversight, and we're free to say whatever we want. We send back everything unless it's a favorite, then we ask to keep those or straight up buy them. Now, if you need advice, fill out the eHarmony profile in the Contact Us section of the site. It's the only way I can help you properly. If you want to support us, and if what we reviewed appeals to you, it helps if you buy through our links. So, thanks for watching.